Hello again. What a joy, what a pleasure, what an honor, always, always, always to connect with you, to come to you. And what a joy, what a pleasure, what an honor it is for us to have you joining in this conversation. And of course, your time and your space, which you allow us to connect with and open to us, we don't take lightly. And for this, we are grateful and thankful. We will always encourage you to always invite your friends, your family, ones, and definitely bring them on into the conversations every Thursday evening and join in this conversation because I believe it is one of the most important conversations we should be having because it touches on our common humanity to explore and to unearth so we can thereby impact our world around us. As you know, our world has gone through so much and is still going through the after effects and the aftermath effects of what it's been through. It's been through several challenges, but with each challenge, we have come out as a people, as a world. However, the challenges have not been that simple, that easy, particularly with the pandemic that just, ended. But then still, we still are feeling the reeling effect of it on the economy and so on. And now we have a major war on our hands, Russia and Ukraine, and that also has impact. We can't dismiss these happenings and their eventual effect and impact on our lives and on what we do. And so again, it is important that we come together, join in together, and have these conversations that speak to the power, the profound power we are each as individuals, collectively as a people, blessed with, endowed with, to make the change, make the impact that brings us the change. And that's why we've been having conversation about this particular topic, the power of you. Today we're on part 5, and it is all about you and I and us together, both as individuals and as a group collectively. The fact that we are blessed and endowed by our Creator with the profound power to determine outcomes and to make the outcomes happen. It means we can determine the destiny, the state of our nations, our lives, our businesses, our organizations, our families, our individual lives. We can determine the state we want, the state of quality we want them in, the state of quality we want our nation in, the state of quality we want our families, our business organizations in, and we will make them happen because we can make them happen. This profound power endowed to us and blessed with from our Creator is not for nothing. It is so that in the face of adversity that impacts our world negatively, we can rise as a people and initiate change, transformational change that shifts the fortunes in our favor. So when we discuss the topic, the power of you, at the core of it and at the heart of it is saying, and we are saying, that our Creator endowed us, blessed us with the gift of life, but within this gift of life is the power to determine the state and the quality of life and generally of life for us and around us. Not only that, but to also make them happen. So what we determine, what we envision, what we envisage, what we dream, we can put in the work and push till it becomes a reality. It means our world can change. It means our world can become a better place. It means Africa particularly. And as you know, our focus in these conversations for us as Global Change Makers Africa, which is the name of our organization, is 15, between 15 to 45, there is millennials, older millennials, younger millennials, and what we call the Gen Zs, which is the Generation Z. This demographic is our focus because we believe this is where change takes place, real change, progressive change, productive change, strong change. We believe it takes place within this demographic, within this group. And so, again, it's exciting to come your way. It's exciting to come and engage you. It's exciting to be here with you. And today we want to look at a couple of case studies. We want to look at lives of certain individuals who by no means, if you look at their physical disabilities, if you look at their lives, the adversities, the vicissitudes, if you look at the challenges they faced and went through and had to endure, they had no business succeeding in anything, with anything. But guess what? They succeeded. They succeeded because something within you, something within me, something within us that defies physical disability, that defies outward circumstantial negativity. In other words, negative circumstances. Something that defies, there's no English for this, but if there were, I would use it. But for the lack of, we'll say the oddest of odds. In other words, the most of odds, the most odds, the most oddities. Something within us that rises to defy these and to set the path or set us on the path of success. We will see from these case studies is what these individuals rose up from within themselves to engage. And as a result of it, they overcame the most unlikely disadvantages to do what they did, accomplish what they accomplished, and survive what they survived, and to do what they did. I am saying to us, and we are submitting to all of us, and we're saying in our conversation today that each one of us is blessed. We're endowed by our Creator with this profound power to defy, and to make big things happen, and to make great things happen, and to impact our world, and to change our world, and to make our world a better place. Yes, we can, because we possess it. We possess it. Now, a quote from the famous American motivational author, Louis Hay. He says, the power is within you. It has always been. The power is within you. It has always been. How far are you willing to expand the horizons of your thinking and stir that power awake? This is Louis Hay, I'm sorry. He says, the power is within you. It has always been. It's always been. It's always been. It's always been. Always been there. The power to effect the change and to determine outcome and to declare things and make them happen, it's always been in us. Now, how far are you willing to expand the horizons of your thinking that stir the power awake? Now, the picture of the gentleman, so that's Louis Hay on my right, and for you watching, I think it's going to be on your left. And the famous scientist, inventor, Hawkins. Now, the power of you means you and I are the captains of our lives, and we can become the captains of our life. If you are the captain of your life, nobody whispers anything that controls your thought, your thinking, your body, entire system. Nobody. If you are the captain of your life. But if you are not, as you know, there's no vacuum, as they say. Somebody, something else will be controlling that life of yours. Once you understand that you can be free when you take complete responsibility for your life, you will unlock the shackles that have been preventing you from doing things you may have never even imagined. The shackles, and that's the key word there, is on our minds, is on our minds, is on our thinking. Young people, anything that tells you that where you are is where you are doomed to be cannot be true. Because of this individual's case study, the Hawkins, Stephen, he says, you have to understand that taking responsibility for your life, in other words, owning it, owning yourself, is really and indeed the beginning and the end of taking the shackles of your mind. Because then, once you own your life, once you get into that posture and that position of owning, then you don't allow anything else to control, because you own. And once you own, you check out what you own, you inspect what you own, and then you advance your own ideas and your thoughts at what you own, just to improve what you own, because you own it. So owning it, taking ownership in your mind, where you say, I'm responsible for my life, for my happiness, my joy, my outcome. Yes, there's a government over my head, and there are people I can blame. The blame can go around, and I share 1,001 of them, but I'm going to start with me, okay? Once that understanding takes place and begins to operate, then you would have started dismantling the shackles on your mind to do things and reach heights you never imagined you will. Now, you have control, total control. You are the captain of your life, and you can steer it in any direction you choose. You can even decide to drop the anchor, not to go anywhere at all. Ditch the blame game and choose not to be the victim. Dare to dream and make those dreams come true. Be the hero of your own life. Here are two case studies of people who unlocked this power in them and broke through all trials and difficulties, all manner of situations. They took life by the horns. They took life by the horns. Now, these things may appear motivational, and we don't quite like to associate ourselves with motivational, because we don't quite believe, the whole concept of motivational speaking is a good one, great concept, but that's not where we are. That's not what we come to you every Thursday evening to do. We come to challenge you, fire you up, but then also want to walk the journey with you to see credible, visible, measurable improvement in your life. We here in GCMA do that. We are so rigorous with measuring progress, because at the end of the day, the talk has to produce results. The talk cannot just be talk, because talk is cheap. There has to be results. We have to produce results. We have to see results. We have to insist on results. We have to be fierce about getting results. We must be the most unsatisfied people if we don't see results. We must push for results. But how does that happen? It happens when we take control, tear the shackles, dismantle the shackles on our minds that tells us that either because of geography, where we live, color, skin color, pigmentation, gender, and all of these, so we cannot amount to anything. We can destroy that. We can destroy that notion, that belief system, and come to the place where our lives mean more, matter more. And so these two case studies, the first is Stephen Hawking, famous Stephen Hawking. One of the things we learn here is from him is the power of perseverance. Imagine being bound to a wheelchair, knowing you will never get up from there, all at the mercy of carers And the only thing that works is your mind. That was Stephen Hawking. The only thing, he can move nothing, cannot do nothing. The only thing that works was his mind. The great Stephen Hawking. Where people usually resort to grief, objection, or even self-destruction in case of petty failures, Stephen Hawking decided to channelize his major biological defeat into the wild horizons of the cosmos. I love this, young people. Ooh, I just hope and pray that this one will fire you up. Baby, you will fire. You'll be fired up. You must be fired up because I'm fired up already here. You must be fired up. Here is somebody who was a total wreck right off. Right off. Not a reject, right off. Right off, because in terms of the body, the physical body, he had one just useless. It cannot move. It can do nothing. All he was stuck to was a wheelchair. That's Stephen Hawking. The only people he was that whose mercy he was at was his carers, caregivers, and all of that. This guy was a total, complete failure when it comes to the body. He couldn't move the body. He couldn't go anywhere. Well, he could, flip the buttons of the wheelchair and make some movements, but he could not. Well, he could, but I'm saying it was so bad, so tough for him. That's Stephen Hawking. So in terms of his disadvantages, it was huge, huge. You know what that means? That means that people who usually resort to grief or to objection or self-pity, self-destruction because of petty failures, I failed this, I lost this, and all of that, and so therefore decide to go to their grave early, or the journey to their grave becomes arduous and painful and bitter. People like that, I'm saying, and we are saying from our story of Stephen Hawking, have no excuse doing that. We have no excuse doing that because somebody, here is somebody who was in a far worse situation, far worse, because only few people in this world have Stephen Hawking's condition. But guess what? Everything else was broken down, but his mind was not broken down. Everything else may be breaking down, but your mind, your greatest gift from your Creator, your mind. Stephen William Hawking was born on January 8, 1942 in Oxford, although his family lived in North London at that time, despite the fact that he was always ranked at the lower end of his class by teachers. His school friends nicknamed him Einstein, and this seems to have encouraged his interest in science. In his own words, physics and astronomy offered the hope of understanding where we came from and why we're here. That's purpose. That's purpose. I wanted to fathom the depths of the universe. Widely regarded as one of the world's most brilliant minds, he was known throughout the world for his contributions to science, his books, his television appearances, and his lectures, and through the biographical films. So this is Steve Hawking for you, born totally incapacitated, but he refused to allow his mind to be in shackles and bondage and to be incapacitated. Guess what? He was determined to explore the galaxies, explore the cosmos, explore the world beyond this earth, and through physics and astronomy, he wanted to engage and understand where we came from and why we are here. So what would normally get people to throw in the towel, for him, it rather fired him up. What is there with you today as we share these thoughts? You think it's such a disadvantage to you. I want to encourage you to be fired up. Be fired up. Be fired. Let those things anger you. Let them stir in you righteous indignation, as we say. Because that's what Stephen Hawking did. Now, that is at the center and at the core and at the heart of the power of you. Professor Stephen Hawking's life is a paradigm of the power of perseverance in the face of crippling adversity, the power of the mind over matter, so to speak. When he was 21, doctors found that he had amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a disease which in simple terms causes the nerves that control the muscles of its victims to stop functioning. So he had no nerve function. After the diagnosis, doctors gave him only 2.5 years to live. Guess what? On top of the worst condition, the doctor said he had 2.5 years to live. He suffered from depression periodically and was eventually paralyzed from neck down. At the end of the 1970s, he needed the constant assistance of a caregiver. He could barely get out of bed or feed himself without a caregiver. Additionally, his speech had become so slurry that he couldn't even be understood by those who did not know him well enough. Half a decade later, he would lose his voice for good after a tracheotomy procedure. That's the throat, the trachea. This eventually led him being confined to a wheelchair and to communicating via his instantly recognizable computerized voice. Can you imagine? Can you believe this? Here is this person born with this this condition, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which literally freezes nerve function responsible for moving the muscles. So your body is not functioning. Then he gets into this situation where he literally becomes, they find out, some more about the worsening condition. Then he loses his voice. And then he's giving some kind of device in his voice. So he gets what you call a computerized voice. However, like every true hero, he defied the odds. This story is too profound. And that's what I want to challenge every millennial, older millennial, younger millennial, 15 to 45, particularly here in Africa, that you and I possess from our Creator the blessing of being the game changers, the change makers, the difference makers we were born to be. We can do this. It just starts with a change of the mindset where the shackles of dominance literally are destroyed. He not only lived over 50 years more than the doctors predicted, he continued to research and to publish. He steadily began producing one insightful and innovative academic papers after the other. One of the reasons why the brilliant physicist didn't let his disability get the him had to do with the fact that he roomed with a young boy who suffered from blood cancer, that's leukemia. Compared to that malignant and devastating cancer, Hawking felt that his illness was not severe. He reasoned that there were worse possible things that could have happened to him. Hence, he soldiered on with an even clearer purpose for his life. So, he was already in this negative condition, this bad condition. Stephen Hawking was already, for him, his life was gone, just gone. The life was gone, okay? But guess what? When he saw another individual who he roomed with, who had leukemia, then he told himself, okay, my condition is bad, but I think this guy is worse. He has a much worse situation than I have. My friends, as we share this together, the power of this case study is to help us appreciate that something about life called perspective. Perspective means how bad you see it, but then the opportunity to turn it around in the midst of the bad situation. In other words, use the bad situation to change things and to alter things around. Now, perspective is everything, because perspective is what tells you the glass is half empty or the glass is half full. It is more productive to think of the half full glass in terms of half full than half empty. Because half empty can be quite hopeless, but half full is hopeful and leaves us with the understanding and the clear notion that there's something we can do with the half full. One of the reasons why the brilliant physicist didn't let his ability get the better of him had to do with the fact that he roomed with a young boy who suffered from blood cancer, leukemia, and compared to that malignant and devastating cancer, Hawking felt that his illness was not severe. He reasoned that there were worst possible things that could have happened to him. Hence, he soldiered on with an even clearer purpose. He was clear about his purpose, why he was born, what he was born to come do here, the contributions, and guess what? He soldiered on. Something has to fire you up. Has to fire you up. But you will not get that fire if you are surrounded by negative naysayers. Something positive that could come out of your life will never happen. Why? Because of who you keep listening to. My friends, your company, your associates, who talks to you, who engages you is so important. If there's anything I've learned in life, it is this one. It is this one, that what you read, your stock of knowledge, and your association, these two variables, they make or unmake you. Stephen Hawking understood that. His diagnosis with ALS gave him a greater impetus to apply himself even more into his chosen field of study. It was simply a blessing in disguise, as Hawking stated on so many occasions. According to him, with a sudden realization that he might die before earning his doctorate, he plunged himself into his work, the result of which can be seen in the groundbreaking contributions he made in theoretical physics and cosmology. So he said, you know what, I probably will not be alive here that sooner or later, so I'm just going to go in and plunge myself. And that's what he did. He plunged himself into his work. Into his work. The doctors gave him 2 years, but he lived on over 50 more years in addition. Why? Because of reaching down within himself to activate that capability that says this thing can be overcome. And he did. Like most scientists propelled by the quest for knowledge and concern for humanity, Professor Hawking worked hard and used different media, particularly television, to make science accessible to a wider audience worldwide. In addition, he was a champion of space exploration for the benefit of humanity, a consistent critic of the uncontrolled use of artificial intelligence, and an advocate of caution in search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Not surprisingly, the renowned physicist was honored with many awards and prizes. Stephen Hawking stood out for his brilliance, so much so that he presented his doctoral thesis at the age of 24. Professor Stephen Hawking holds a total of 31 honorary degrees. He was awarded the CBE in 1982. He was made a Companion of Honor in 1986. He was awarded the U.S. Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1909. He was the recipient of numerous awards, medals, and prizes, including the Copley Medal of the Royal Society of Albert Einstein Award, the Gold Medal of the Royal Astronomical Society, the Fundamental Physics Prize, the BBVA Foundation Frontiers of Knowledge Award for Basic Sciences, and the Wolf Foundation Award. And I am telling you, we could go on and on and on and on. Became a Fellow of the Royal Society, a member of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, and all of that. And we're going to send you the slides as you have them already. You can read on and you would be amazed at what he did. Now, this is a man who was written off. The key, he understood the power of you. And that's what I conclude with you in this series. And that's what I bring to you, the power of you. He just told himself, my life My life is in my hands, and within my life is the power to surmount these challenges. Thank you very much for joining in again, for being part of us and being part of this conversation, allowing us to be part of your space and spending time. I just want you to be encouraged to know that your creator, our creator, your creator, my creator, our creator has endowed us, blessed us with the most powerful gift of life, in my view, which is the power in you, the power in me, the resolve we can master to take this power, this capability to determine outcomes and make them happen, including taking your life in your hands like this and saying that he made me the pilot, he made me the captain of my life, and therefore I can steer it in the path and in the direction of great success and great fulfillment and great achievement against all the odds, looking at Stephen Hawking. I want to encourage you to please subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share. And again, I cannot thank you enough for spending your time with us. Have a good night, and please take good care of yourself. Stay safe, stay healthy. This is a great year and the best year yet.